You know that constant nagging feeling? That little tickle that forces you to clear your throat? It's so frustrating. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the surprising reason it happens. And I'll tell you right now, the solution might be the exact opposite of everything you've ever been told.
So, does this sound familiar? That little hum that just kind of shows up in the morning and then never really leaves? If you've been wondering why you just can't shake that feeling, then you are in the perfect place.
Okay, so let's start by just putting a pin in exactly what this feeling is. Just so we're all on the same page about how annoying it really is.
We're talking about that nonstop tickle, right? Or maybe for you, it feels more like a lump in your throat that you just can't seem to swallow. It usually comes with this thick phlegm, which creates this never-ending cycle of throat clearing. And it's so maddening, because for something so persistent, nobody ever seems to have a clear answer for why it's happening.
So, let's finally put a name to this thing. It's time to meet the most likely culprit behind all that, a hemming, a little something called silent reflux.
Now, the official medical name is a mouthful: laryngopharyngeal reflux, or LPR for short. And what's happening is actually pretty simple. It's when a little bit of stomach acid travels all the way up your esophagus and kind of splashes into your throat, or your larynx. The problem is, those tissues are super delicate. They are not designed to handle acid, and that's what causes all that irritation.
And here is the absolute key. The whole reason it's called silent is because, unlike the acid reflux you always hear about, LPR usually shows up without that classic burning heartburn feeling in your chest. And that right there is why it gets missed so often. All the symptoms are up in your throat, not where you'd ever expect them to be.
Okay, you ready for this? Because this is the part where everything you probably think about reflux is about to get flipped completely upside down.
For literally decades, we've all been told that reflux is caused by having way too much stomach acid, right? That's why people pop antacids like candy. But what if the real cause, the hidden cause, is the complete opposite? What if it's all being triggered by having too little stomach acid?
So how in the world does that work? Well, let's break it down. Imagine this. Your stomach acid levels are low. Now that little valve at the top of your stomach, it's waiting for a strong acid signal to tell it to shut tight. But if the acid is weak, the valve doesn't really get the message, so it might stay a little bit open, or it just doesn't seal properly. And that's all it takes for a tiny amount of that acid to splash its way up and irritate your throat.
So, if the cause is the exact opposite of what we thought, what on earth does that mean for the solution? Well, once you get the real problem, the answer starts to make a whole lot of sense.
Look, if the root issue is low acid, then the goal has to be bringing it back up to a healthy level, especially when you're eating. The source we're explaining today highlights a couple of common ways people approach this. One is a supplement called betaine hydrochloride, or HCl, which is basically just stomach acid in a capsule. And the other is that classic home remedy you've probably heard of, apple cider vinegar.
The entire idea here, the whole goal, is just to get your body's natural signaling system working again. You want to temporarily increase your stomach acid while you're eating to give that valve the strong chemical cue it needs to do its job and slam shut. It keeps everything right where it's supposed to be.
This quote just sums it up perfectly. This isn't about fighting acid or getting rid of it. It's about helping your body's own system work the way it was designed to, just by giving it the right signal at the right time. So, we'll just leave you with this one thought to chew on. In a world that's constantly telling you to block acid, what if, for some problems anyway, the real solution is the complete opposite? It's a pretty powerful reminder to always question the real cause behind the symptom.